The power balance recently has been as turbulent as a Boeing aircraft. You just get that feeling something's always about to go down. And now we're close enough to impact to see the look of terror in the execs' faces as they watch revenue freefall as if guided by faulty course correction mechanisms. Accurate an analogy as that may be, we're here to talk about some other souped-up enemies today. Alongside the greatest breaker to ever break, well, just about anything as of late, we got our second-ever Charisma difficulty EX4 score battle. The first was comically easy, so naturally they'll fix this in the most overcompensating, ham-fisted way possible, by ratcheting up the enemy stats stupidly high. First off, as with the other part, we have 200% resistance to all magic, not a fan of straight-up locking out certain attributes, quite broadly also. Conveniently, by some coincidence, it's weak only to pierce, which happens to be the attribute of the latest OP attacker that was covered in the last vid. Having done my part funding this thing, I don't really appreciate the not-so-subtle forcing one's hand approach. Just make cute units that people like, and they'll come. The break values are also an obscene 3k, perfect for the new Pierce Breaker with double the base break power of all previous units, among other crazy stuff. Again, subtle like a bat to the face. Then there's the healthy 4 million plus HP per enemy, and they punch for 3 to 5k, caving most units instantly, and they move really fast, with the boss having effectively around 344 speed, and the lackey about 283. It's an extremely aggressive way to brute force the difficulty and push units, and the worst of it is being told that your old ones won't cut it anymore, and that most of the core favorites they ran through the mill, right before this power bender started, got shafted in favor of the new kids. Anyway, that's it for the rant segment. Let's beat this thing the suggested way. Diona's Skill 2 buff attaches 50% ailment resistance reduction and a high chance of paralysis to your whole party's next attack. This was their excessive answer to the problem of ailments being too weak. So we'll just slap on 3 or 4 stacks. Should be enough to lock down the enemy's next turn somewhat reliably. Magda's first hit insta-breaks. Whether S1, 2, or 5, and her skill 2 additionally knocks back an extra 2 turns when breaking. This is practically cheating, right? Like, we're at the it's fine if you only use your mouse stage. On good ol' Academy Row spawns a panel for Mike, her various free buffs allowing us to delete the unit we broke for free with no effort. Side note, on topic of breaking, they broke the combat UI again, where the item menu becomes unclickable for a bit. A boss gets bonked for a cool 8 mil that doesn't look like Pierce or Stab to me, but I'm no expert. Next up is the star of the whole new broken world, Diona's burst giving up to 100% skill power. Yes, it's one and the same skill power as that multiplier that used to be exclusive to equipment traits, her buff adding the equivalent of 4 slots of rank 5. You also get 30% item gauge, which when added to the natural regen and the 10% from her passive, means you get back half your cooldown in 1 turn. And for the kicker, when she hits a target with certain ailments, she generates burst panels for your entire party. The second turn of Mike's paralysis also procs, skipping the golem's turn once again, and you can see the burst paved finish line. Magda's burst applies a special ailment that's essentially stun or daze that bypasses resistances, just in case you don't manage to get the kill. Reckon that's seldom an issue. We could have even killed earlier here, but ran longer to get the 13 or so million damage needed for the SS. The combined item charge of Diona and Zaskia have refreshed the entire gauge in the space between Mike's turns without stalling, so our full combo is good to go again. Throw in the panoply of effects that comes with breaking with Magda's burst, and the damage is nearly double that of the first. Clearing the SS rank, easy. For this comp at least. I'll show you how it looks otherwise in a bit. There's actually a more advanced clear with these same units using various tricks. Didn't want to make this look too trivial to start, but let's try that next. This time we're aiming to nuke both enemies together with Mikei's S2, which we need to hit for average 6 to 7 million per target for the SS rank. The main trick is the speed tuning to get the right turn orders to maximize buffs and debuffs, and to have both enemies in break state simultaneously. We have a cute trick with the recent item that knocks the lowest max HP enemy back by 1 panel. With how slow Aka Rorona is, this is a significant time delay further amplified by Mag's auto break and additional 2 panels. The small golem gets yeeted deep into the timeline to await its demise. The speed tuning puts Zaskia's next turn ahead of Rorona to not steal her generated panel from Diona, and ideally, we want her fast enough to go again before Meek. We're relying on a single stack of paralysis to suppress the first golem hit. Worse, but not terrible odds. Rorona panel into Diona burst, targeting the small golem that still has its initial paralysis stack since we hit it into space before it even got a turn. The accumulated Pierce Down debuffs allow Magda to crack the boss's 3000 break in a single 3.5-star burst. Amazing. Such balance. This cuts off the boss's second turn defensive buff, leaving them wide open for the cat to shred for massive damage. And we're done, ending with full health, Mikei having recovered the HP lost from the lone hit taken, the golem's initial counter. A full no-hit run is possible if you roll a natural crit for Mikei's first hit, thereby not triggering the counter, but that's more RNG than I care to deal with at this point. The setup looks like this, with Mikei putting the creator group, including Diona and herself, into the initiative round, plus some speed tuning for Mag and Rorona. I went with Fizz Break on Mag's gear, but the new trait that boosts Pierce debuff should be better, with how much free break damage she has built in. Her optimal setup varies a lot depending on things like how much break you need, and the relative balance between Pierce down, damage taken up, and buffs, etc. We're packing 2 debuff items and a doctrine for some crit rate, though you will most likely auto-crit these when they're broken, as long as they didn't tag you with the crit rate debuff first. For the second setup, most of it is the same, the biggest changes being to Magda, who needs enough break to one-shot the boss, while also increasing the damage output. We also need items available to do the pushback before her opening force break, and need the right speed to not cut between Rorona and Diona's second turn. We're packing the turn delay item and 2 Imp's Mischiefs, loaded with Pierce Curse to help with the boss break. Having established how silly the new units are, let's try this again without them, using some of the units that kicked off this whole rapid escalation less than 3 months back. We're fighting uphill against the 200% fire resistance, but between Awakened Resna, Awakened Val, and items, we can actually stack enough debuffs to achieve the fire weakness needed for Val's force break. Specifically, you need the combination of Resna's Awakened S2, Val's Awakened S2, and 3 Flame Aquas of around 400 quality. Then Val needs to get a burst before Resna wipes away her debuff, so the battle becomes drawn out waiting for these conditions to align. On top of that, Saskia and Aisha often need S1s to operate, so that also potentially interferes with the timing. Hard to imagine other units having the required level of sustain, besides Ice Aisha with her near immortality from a max-ranked Halloween Memoria. Even with that, she ultimately gets killed when the panels become impossible to navigate further, but by then, we've bought enough time to set up the kill. Had she survived, B rank would still be out of reach from losing the turn bonus completely and not being able to do big damage against the steep resists. I spent a long time looking for a route that would cut down the turns, which comes down to fitting Val's S2 and burst between Resna's third and fourth hit, and I do have the sequence, but not the gear to pull it off properly. I can get the right turn and panel order, but don't have the damage output to kill the boss while leaving enough items for the smaller golem. This could be fixed with much better flame aquas and optimized equipment and memoria for the specific speeds required, but I'm not willing to invest more resources to press the issue further. TLDR, this fight is bull even for what's normally the strongest units in the game, so pull the new characters, everyone. They're at least super good, or that's what I'd like to say, but I'll probably have to make another vid soon when the upcoming Pierce supporter takes their stab at the already dead meta, so sign up if you're interested in that. Spoilers, it's a single guy on the banner by himself, the kind of pickup I did 200 hours of by the freeway for mandated community service. Yes, I'm referring to trash. In this case, I'd say it's more of a disservice, but at least we met the annual quota. Can we go back to cute girls now? Like the ones struggling through this drawn-out battle between the unstoppable force of power creep and the immovable object of inept game design and managerial incompetence, sprawled out across a timeline littered with failed ideas and successful bungles, somehow simultaneously predictable and disappointing. Really, it's just meta fire team versus 200% fire resist golems, defeated through the sheer willpower of bashing one's head against the wall for amusement. I think that's enough commentary for one day, before I go full AI lamenting the human condition mode. Until next time, stay tuned and thanks for watching.
せっかくのお楽しみ中よそ見してる暇はないわよ。聞かないわね。勇気が湧いてくる。やっ絶好調。任せなさい。どうかしら。そろそろ本気出しちゃいます。よーし。ちょっと調子悪くなってきたかも。力を解き放ちます。今の私なら何でも倒せる。よそ見してる暇はないわよ。力が抜ける。しびれる音色を届けるよ。絶好調。前に出ましょう。どうかしら。行きましょう。 体が軽い。はあ、準備できたよ。
火は熟したわね。任せなさい。ほら、
みんなで攻撃できるね。今ならすごいことができるかも。全身全霊の一撃を。力を合わせよう。そろそろ大きいの言っとく。よそ見してる暇はないわよ。力を合わせよう。どうしようかな。勇気が湧いてくる。目を離さないでね。終わらせてあげる。
火は熟したわね。今よ。ちょっと涼しくしましょうか。
すっごくありがとう。体が軽い。私に力を貸して。
感謝感謝。
ごめんなさい皆さん。人暴れしたくなっちゃった。慎重に決めていく。迷っちゃうな。食らいなさい。
どうかしら。
これで強そうな雰囲気出てる。イエイ、今よ。前に進むんだ。優雅に激しく。
お仕置きしちゃうわよ。さあ、特製のやついっちゃうわよ。
助かりました。体が軽い。相変わらずここは迷っちゃうな。いや、全身全霊